Hey guys, welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap, unless we take breaks for All-Star games, because they're kind of pointless and useless, and as adults, we really shouldn't care about them. Recap of what's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and even more specifically in Canada, just as the name implies. I'm your co-host, Mick, and you can find me on Twitter at ProfitMick. And I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Grant, on Twitter at Fourth Line Sports. The All-Star game is in the rearview mirror, and that means a few big things for guys like Mick and Grant. One, trade deadline, which is pretty much, I don't want to call it second Christmas. It might even be first Christmas. There was a time when it was first Christmas for us, and eventually the playoff push. But I got to say, All-Star weekend, I didn't see a lot of successes. The only things that were sent my way, and maybe I was targeted for, were all the All-Star game failures. So as a guy who didn't tune in, I'm excited to hear about some of the good things that may have happened last weekend that I'm not aware of.
I think it was a light. So I'm going to preface this. I'm not that big of a nerd, and I had a lot of just home time. I was doing stuff that kind of just resorted to me being in front of the television. There's nothing else on. I kind of got sucked into the draft. They did a draft behind closed doors. You could kind of look through the teams, and I started actually writing down the teams because I couldn't find it anywhere. An analysis of this fantasy draft. So that's the level I was at. That I was like, that says something about me when I'm like trying to be like, Deborah can't. That was good value in the 7th round right there. Led into the skills competition that I watched. And then finally the All-Star game. I saw the first 2 rounds, and then there was like a big intermission, and some girl, Tate McCraw or something, was performing. And at that point I was like, I'm going to take the dog for a walk, and I actually missed the finals. So I wasn't that interested.
Fuck you. Don't you dare besmirch Tate McCraw. Oh, my God.
Yeah, but I was like... But I was more interested to see Austin Matthews play Connor McDavid. That's what I was watching for. And I was like, it just kept going and going. And my streaming service, only the Spanish was working, so I could only watch the Spanish telecast, and they were talking over like her singing, and I'm like, what? Whatever. So I do have takes as well as that was kind of my last weekend. So I have one big take off the start. There was a couple hockey trades or a couple trades that have happened just within Canadian teams that we could probably discuss, break down. I think we're going to save that for next episode.
Yeah, we could probably hold off because we got a lot to run through.
Maybe more to come, and then just we could even dissect and kind of break out these trades that will kind of keep going over the rest of the season for the teams that made them, right? So,
what we haven't said out loud, this is our fucking Super Bowl extravaganza show. This is what we're here for today. It is Super Bowl weekend. And as much as we love to talk hockey and trade deadline and sexy fucking Tate McCraws, we got bigger fish to fry today.
All right. My quick All-Star take. I know, Grant, you gave me that, and I started talking. I'm sorry. I should have been more concise. Friday night, skills competition, turn on the TV to see one of the worst piss-poor performances I've ever seen in a passing challenge with Nikita Kucherov. Not only that, but I see him, I see him, looks like he's kind of drunk. He's probably drunk. He's probably had something to drink. He probably doesn't care. Not getting heckled, getting booed, and waving to the crowd like a smug little asshole that he is. The rhetoric that's come from this is people are saying that he should be the MVP. He's one of the top leaders in the leagues. He's won multiple Stanley Cups. He's one of the best players on a fairly decent team. Yeah, they're struggling right now, but that's probably more to do with like Vasilevsky injuries and team play rather than like Kucherov himself. But people are actually talking that he shouldn't be qualified to win the MVP based on this piss poor performance in this stupid skills competition. That's an actual thing I've heard. Now, NHL, what you have on your hand is you shouldn't be embarrassed that somebody didn't want to play your little game. You should be looking at this and saying, we have the perfect heel. He doesn't want to play our little games. We've got Connor McDavid, the little golden boy. Connor went out and he tried really hard in every single contest, and it showed. Yeah, he won the skills contest, but he also was trying much more. Like, he took it personally. He wanted to prove that he was the best. He's the NHL's golden boy. Guess what, Connor? You know what a good face needs? You know what the face of a company needs? Just like good old wrestling days, a heel. Nikita Kucherov might have actually won me over with his piss-poor performance and trying to make a mockery out of this stupid All-Star game. And the fact they didn't lean into that is just one of these things we'll talk about forever. the NHL, Gary Bettman does not understand how to market its content. Take Kucherov and shove him down everyone in Canada's throats, especially in Toronto, in a market like that. Have him come out and just have Kucherov just say a blanket statement. He just look around and he's like, well, I didn't really feel like I needed to try this hard in this building because I've actually had a lot of playoff success in this facility, and it makes me feel like, I don't know, I don't even really have to try that hard, and I seem to succeed. Just make some statement, take a shot at the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you've got yourself a bona fide, genuine heel that you can kind of throw in our face. Multiple-time Stanley Cup champion, potential MVP this year. Check out Southern Florida if you want to see one of the baddest guys in hockey. Build up this character. No, what does NHL do? Oh, we just skirt it to the side. Maybe if Kucherov doesn't want to come to these things anymore, we won't force him. Cowards.
Cowards indeed. That was one of the performances that I did get sent my way that I was alluding to earlier. And I agree. I hadn't thought of this, but this is the perfect heel opportunity for the NHL. And what I really wish that they would do, what I wish the circumstances would have allowed for when I saw this, was like, this would have been the perfect opportunity to nominate this guy as the, like, if it was a voting fan thing where we could all just get on our phones and vote Nikita Kucherov as the All-Star Game MVP and just be like, you know what, fuck yes, let's get Kucherov, because it was just like, it was satirical. Like, Kucherov was making fun of everybody, and everybody proved him right, because all they did was get butthurt about him, like, lackadaisically going through this contest, taking it not seriously. And the fucking sarcastic wave at the end just sealed it for me, too.
Like, he knows that he's playing the role. Do better, right? Like, and it is one of those things, too, where, like, those conversations should be Connor McDavid is the best player in hockey, but who's probably pretty close to his heels. And like, if you want to talk about just, like, awards, give him an MVP. Is Kucherov not up there for best player in the world? Multiple time Stanley Cup champion, right? Best player on those teams when they've won. McDavid can't do it, and I would lean into that, NHL. I would create this super heel and, like, try and sell that, right? Like, he is kind of a fucking... He doesn't want to play your game. He doesn't want to be nice and cute and have the fun hair. He's Nikita Kucherov.
I don't know. Maybe this is my tinfoil hat moment. You remember how badly Leon Draisaitl looked in the accuracy competition? Because that was another one that came my way.
Oh, Leon should be very thankful that he's got a hell of a slap shot, and he gets that puck by the goal line quite often, because, like, skill-wise, he may be one of the most unskilled superstars I've ever seen. Like, watching that man try and skate with the puck, I was like, really? This is his best effort? Like, him and Nikita better be fucking up, like, a flat deep each. To, like, because, like, when he was skating around, I was like, oh my god, that's kind of, like, he was the one guy, I was like, yep.
Okay, so they probably were drunk. We have to assume they were drunk. But maybe Nikita Kucherov felt so bad for Leon Draisaitl being the drunkest guy in the building. He's like, and I just picture him putting his arm around him at one point during the competition and being like, don't worry, pal, I'll take the heat off of you. And then he goes through and he does his stupid little accuracy shoot or his stupid little passing thing. And at the end, him and Cooch and Dry are just in the shower giving each other big hugs, being like, thanks, man. I'm glad we did this together.
Cool. But then just wrap up for All-Star Weekend for myself. Skills, better. Cool. Elaborate on it. Some things didn't work, change it, but I think it's a kind of a cool setup. Keep going in the future. And really, it's for kids. Like, that's exciting things. You know how many kids you probably saw on the ice the next day, setting up pucks and little arrangements and trying to dangle in between and have little contests? That's really what it's about. Like, show them having fun. I think that was actually done pretty well. But don't, like, you're so goddamn bashful. Like, I feel like hockey is just, like, the most bashful sport in the world. We're like, well, we can't show that, like, maybe we can't show that. Maybe someone will make fun of us. No, take it on. Build it. Crosby had Ovechkin, right? And, like, we keep looking for McDavid's equal in the league. Maybe it's another Russian.
It is definitely another Russian. I have one last question before we move on, if you're willing and ready to move on.
Oh, yeah.
Connor McDavid. Does he need the $1 million? What did he do with the $1 million? Do you think that
it was only $100,000 for the skills, and then it was $1 million for the winning team split amongst the players.
I thought it was $1 million for McDavid too. Never mind then.
That's what I thought too, but then it turned out he got, I think somehow I saw he won 100,000, and I was like, that seems less than $1 million, but like also on brand for the NHL. They're like, whoa, we actually have a reduced pot. We didn't collect from everybody, but this is okay. Does he need it? No, but I think that's just like the drive that makes like what makes McDavid and McKinnon the best players in the world. It's being fucking crazy, neurotic assholes.
So what did the $100,000 get him and his wife? Or maybe he took Dry and Cooch out for more beers. What does that get you in Toronto? A couple lap dances and a bottle service night? That's about it.
Yeah, I was like, you probably could spend that at like a restaurant. And it not be unreasonable. Like that time Allen Iverson spent like $87,000 at a Chili's.
I forgot about that episode. My God.
In fact, he might have just bought the Chili's. I think that's what happened. I think their bill was so big, he's like, I might just buy. I think he ended up buying the franchise or something like that instead of paying his bill. All right. Well, I'm going to go from NHL.com to NFL.com. Because guess what, guys? We're not here to talk about the NHL All-Star Game. We're here to talk about the NFL Pro Bowl flag football game. Woo! I didn't watch it. I didn't know it was on. Did you watch it?
So at least during traditional, historical, whatever old Pro Bowl, whatever it is you want to call the old Pro Bowl, pre-flag football, at least you could bet on it. At least I could bet on it going over 69.5 points every single fucking year. Now, with the stupid flag football thing, it's not even... I can't bet on it.
Yeah.
I had no interest in it whatsoever in the first place, other than just basically free overs. And now all of a sudden, we have Eli and Peyton Manning. I don't know if they're drafting teams. Are they on the field throwing, or are they just coaches?
Oh, I literally know nothing about this. I was just like, I would be upset if I was watching a show about gambling for Super Bowl and they talked about hockey and then flag football. So that's what I was going for.
All right. Well, you win this round. I think it's a sham.
I agree. But that's it, guys. We're here for the Super Bowl because tomorrow the Kansas City Chiefs take on the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl LIV. What number is that? I don't know. I don't know my Roman numerals. 48? 58. Okay.
L is 50, V is 5, and then 3 ones. LVII.
But then why is this saying watch Super Bowl live? LIV.
Man, that was like... Wasn't that the Rams? Was it?
All right.
That's got to be one of the old ones.
Yeah. Here we go. Preview LVI. Weird. I don't know what that one was for. Maybe they're showing the old Super Bowls on NHL. No, don't take me to DAZN.com. God damn it. Anyways, Super Bowl is tomorrow, and we're here to talk props. So normally what we do is we took 100 theoretical dollars in the past. We bet it on a bunch of hockey games. Kept track of the results. That's how we did. Some years, okay. Some years, not so much. So today I have, I think, $100. $100 bets. I scratched a couple of these bad boys out, but I did it online, and then I changed back to paper, so we'll see what happens. So I've got about $100 to throw around on some prop bets. We're going to talk props, gambling, futures, outcomes. Get ourselves ready. Get you ready and us ready for the big game tomorrow.
I added... Well, we were comparing notes and pre-production here. I had 7, but I uncovered an 8th, Mick. I have 8 props.
Okay.
That I shouldn't say 8 props. I have 8 bets that I can't wait. It's like we've done this in the past. We normally save our money shot, and that is who we think is going to win for the end. I don't know if you did that. If you got a straight up winner or prop that you had in mind, but I have one that I'm going to save for the end. It's the money shot prop.
I have a prop, but I'm doing it differently from... We'll get to it. But I like that. I like that idea. So props run throughout the day, so you can bet on everything from the singing of America the Beautiful to the national anthem. Who's going to... How many... is there going to be a touchback? Is a touchback? Run for a return touchdown off the opening kick to the final drive. You can bet on everything. and everything tomorrow. So let's start at the beginning. So let's go to the earliest possible bet that could cash for you tomorrow and work our way up to the end of the game. So starting out, Grant, do you have any pre-game props that you want to get off your chest?
I don't got any specials. Mine are all game related.
All right. So I as well. Now, there's a big part of me that we talked about it a little bit when the last week guys were kind of talking about that and like, oh, the props are fun and you got to do these props. Last year at the Super Bowl, there was props about Rihanna, the halftime performer. Would she show cleavage? Would she show her belly button? She was like 7 months pregnant. So the fact that they could convince us to put money on her showing her midsection, but they knew she was pregnant, kind of makes me feel like some prop markets, especially now, because it is such a business, you just stay away from. So for myself, outside of a couple bucks here on heads or tails, or yeah, let's do the national anthem, it's kind of fun. I don't put a lot of serious money in those kind of props, because they knew she was 7 months pregnant and they still put those props out. Like, that is the most is like, fuck you bet I ever heard.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment of the situation. And I'm going to pull the curtain back. Maybe you can tell a little bit. I've been feeling 100%. Haven't done a whole bunch of like extracurricular homework. I've looked into Super Bowl stuff. But like, I don't even know who's singing the national anthem this year.
The Reba?
McIntyre?
I think it's Reba McIntyre. Yeah.
In Las Vegas?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Man, how many rock bands came from Las Vegas?
A lot. And, like, you should see the over-under. Like, it's what, historically about 2 minutes or something like that, right? It's, right now it's 96 seconds.
But Reba's a fucking country-loving...
But apparently she's fast. Like, she's at the last time she's done them recordedly at ball games, like, she pumps out, like, 92 second national anthem. Like, she's in and out, so...
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess if you're getting paid to do something, you're not... Why take longer to do it? Guess what? Fucking each note. Boom. 8 count. I'm out of here.
I'm getting paid...
$500,000.
Yeah, I'm getting paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, independent of how long it takes. Yes. Reba is a fucking businesswoman right there. So, if you have no props either, let's jump into the start of the game. And the first thing that happens outside of a coin toss, opening kickoff, we probably need a first touchdown. I've got 2 first touchdowns.
Okay, I've got opening kickoff here, and I was going to save this one for a little down the line. Because it was gonna play into a strategy, but I do have opening kickoff, 1,000 to 1.
Okay, all right.
Or sorry, is it 1,000 to 1? 1 to 100 to 1. Anyways, plus my brain's not working. Plus 10,000. So yeah, 100 to 1. Opening kickoff, returned for a touchdown. I had $2 on this for yes. $2 to win 200. What would be more exciting? Like, it's fucking Las Vegas. And you know who's a reckless kick returner? Ray McCloud. That guy fucking loves running the ball out for the Niners. It doesn't matter how far it's kicked deep. He hasn't done it this year, but he does have kick returns. I think it was 1 kick and 1 punt return. I looked at him in the any touchdown market for exactly that reason. But I think he was 40 to 1.
Okay.
If I'm getting 100 to 1, sure, I'm going to roll the dice with this. Opening kickoff, return for a touchdown, yes. $2 to win 200.
All right. For myself, I've got $10. I'm going to split on 2 different people for a first touchdown. Apparently, I like the Niners. Didn't even consider the Chiefs could score the first touchdown. I like Brandon Ayuk at plus 1,000. $5 on that to win 55. And then Kyle Juszczyk. Pass interference, 1 yard line. Kyle Shanahan loves Kyle Juszczyk. That guy's been around a couple years ago. I'm pretty sure I was on this podcast talking and making fun of how much love Kyle Juszczyk was getting. So plus 4,000. $5 to win $205. I don't hate that. It's first touchdown, some greasy guy that everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why isn't it Christian McCaffrey? Rex parlays across the country. Kyle Juszczyk, I like you.
Yeah, sometimes it's fucking, uncanny. I took myself off that bet. I was like, I could do this. I ended up going in another direction.
Okay, all right.
But like Kyle Juszczyk and Kyle Shanahan, these guys are best friends in the entire world.
The only other one I had, and actually speaking of anytime touchdown that I removed, I'm pretty sure I was on Noah Gray for first time anytime touchdown last year. So like Noah Gray's getting like 3 touchdowns. So just
yeah. Okay. So if we're talking about Noah Gray, you're right. Yeah, he 100%. He had 5 targets last week.
Yeah.
Noah Gray, and I think that puts him up to 8 over the last 2 playoff games. It's almost like they're running this guy as a decoy, but he's not the decoy. So it's like a double mind fuck. Like, it's just Noah Gray. Don't worry about him. And
it's a decoy. Like, no, it was the plan all along. It's like the old man having the heart attack, and he's like, call an ambulance. Not for me.
The gun.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, so those are my opening ones. All the rest are basically to the end of the game, and then I've just got player props in between. So if you want to just kind of bounce between us.
Okay, so I'm going to go with my first touchdown scorer prop here. You know who's been good in the first half of football games? Not Brock Purdy. This guy has been absolute dog shit. I should have written some of this down. I didn't. Brock Purdy has led the Niners on 0 first quarter scoring drives so far this postseason. His completion percentage is like 50%. He's got a whole bunch of his turnover. I think he's got 2 interceptions. It's just like first halves are just dog shit for Purdy. He is just not good in the first half. And the moment is going to get even bigger against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I'm not expecting him to all of a sudden be Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collected early in the game. I think the Kansas City defense is the first touchdown scorer.
Okay.
And I'm willing to bet $10 at plus 4,200 that's the case. So I got $10 to win 420.
Okay, well, all right, that's not bad. It's not bad. I like that. In terms of just anytime touchdowns, so I've already given Ayuk to get the first touchdown. Anytime touchdown for Brandon Ayuk at plus 155 for $10 is my second play. Third play?
Third play.
Third play? All right.
Third play. All right. I'm not hiding anything with this one. I also have an anytime touchdown scorer, and I'm going with Mr. Kyle Juszczyk. Both he and Shanahan arrived in San Francisco in 2017, and Juszczyk started 16 of 17 games this season, with nominal usage on offense. So he's getting like starter bonus checks, basically because Kyle Shanahan loves the guy. And I guarantee you he's going to have a moment to shine in this Super Bowl. And, yep, there's going to be a 1-yard plunge where everybody just thinks it's going to McCaffrey, but it's basically just going to be up the gut for Juszczyk, and he's going to step on 3 people's heads on his way to the end zone. Not as profitable as your first-time touchdown scorer market, but at plus 950, $10 still gets you 95.
That went up. I think I had it down for 800. I'm going to pivot and take one of my alternates, so we just don't double up on that one. Anytime touchdown, I do like running backs in this game to score. I think it'll be lots of ground action. So that means we have to go to Kansas City. We've got to look at the running back that everyone's talking about, the big playoff performer, Jerick McKinnon, at plus 550 for an anytime touchdown. That's right. Everyone's like, oh, Pacheco, he's going to get multiple. No, he's not. He's absolutely not. Jerick McKinnon and Damian Williams. You didn't know Damian Williams was on this team, but he's going to get 2 touchdowns in this game. And then Patrick Mahomes is going to win the MVP. And I'll be like, that's weird, because I kind of feel like that was Damian Williams winning the game. Oh, wait, that was a different Super Bowl between these 2 teams. So I don't even know if he's on the team, but I do like a random Jerick McKinnon touchdown coming out of nowhere, plus 550, $10 on that guy.
Reed always does that goofy shit on offense, too, so. Yeah, you're probably right with that one, you son of a bitch.
Just pick old names. Like, remember that time Gronk had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, and everyone was like, oh, huh, all right. Like, there was questions like Gronk may not be able to play, to he got 2 touchdowns and won the Bucs the Super Bowl, so that was weird.
Yeah, and this is where I have to tread carefully, because anytime I go in confidently to these wagers, I always suffer ironic consequences. and we can look back through the years, and I can point to all the times I've ended people's careers by betting them to win MVP. And
Man,
history's doesn't reflect well on me.
We've done this for a very long time.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris Butler. Still feel bad about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure like Malcolm Butler ended up not playing in a Super Bowl because of you, so.
Yeah.
Oopsie!
Big fuck up for a guy like Grant.
I think I've got 2 more touchdown props, and then I have a couple just player props.
Yeah, you roll. I got player props and then some end-of-game stuff here, so you roll with what you got.
All right, so because Grant took the Kyle Juszczyk, and I do like that play, I think that's a good one. Let's get someone love. I'm going to take 2 touchdowns. Everyone's thinking, obviously, you got to look at the running backs, you got to look at the guys like the Kelseys. I like a player from a couple years ago. Grant knows him near and dear, almost won him a fantasy football championship, in Deebo Samuel. If that guy is healthy and playing well, he is a utility player. He is running, he is throwing, he is catching the ball. 2 touchdowns at plus 1,000. I think the odds are low because for $10 to win 110 on that one, almost a no-brainer. That's like, again, you want to talk about Kyle Shanahan's best friends in the world? He loves a utility player in Deebo Samuel.
You know who doesn't, and he does not get enough respect. And even last week, if we go back to, like, the Niners have been playing from behind and they've needed big plays. Deebo Samuel got them big plays on a few occasions against the Lions last week, 2 weeks ago, sorry. He is an emotional leader for this team. Like, when he gets fired up, you see the entire offense rally behind him. Whether he's running, catching, whatever it is he's doing, he gets up and he flexes and everybody's there, like, building off of him. I love Samuel, and 2 touchdown score. I'll get to more on Samuel down the road here because I think he's more valuable than the betting market is giving him credit for.
Awesome, solid. Into individual player stuff? Oh, how about my final? I have one more TD. How about we do one more touchdown? Yeah. A non-quarterback to throw a passing touchdown. Remember when I just mentioned that Deebo Samuel can throw the ball? Christian McCaffrey can throw the ball. Travis Kelce. If you want to be cute, I bet you I could see him trying to throw the ball at some point, especially on the goal line. Maybe throw things up a little bit. Maybe get his name out there for MVP. I'd love to see a non-quarterback throw a touchdown pass in this game at plus 3,300, guys. So for $10, I'm winning $340 on that one.
God damn, that's an exciting prop I didn't know existed.
Well, just like the diversity, and like you mentioned, Deebo is the leader, right? It was Deebo, Ayuk, Kittle were kind of the core that was with Shanahan in the last Super Bowl. So you have to imagine that it's those 3 guys on the field trying to get the team through this, right? McCaffrey's never been there. Purdy hasn't been there before, right, for this group. So it is going to be kind of that core 3 receiving core of the Niners that hopefully pulls it together and does some magical things out there.
It kind of feels like since Philadelphia won the Super Bowl on the Philly special, it feels like every team's kind of trying to have a signature play in the biggest game. So, like, why wouldn't you run, especially if you got a guy like, anybody, like Samuel or Kelce, who have thrown touchdown passes in the past? Like, why not? Why not get cute with it and be like, yeah, this is my Super Bowl flex. I beat you with fucking Kyle Juszczyk throwing a check down to Ray McCloud. Like,
that is how these games are won, right? Again, it's not always star power. It is like they're like the who had Damian Williams for 2 touchdowns? No one? Perfect, great, awesome. So something thinking out of the box is not the worst thing. I've got some player props and then some end game stuff.
I got 4 player props.
Okay, now I've got 3.
All right, I'll take the lead here.
We'll make a Grant sandwich. Oh wait, no, it'd be a mix sandwich because you talk about what's in the middle, not on the outside.
Yeah, it's a mix sandwich. Yeah,
right.
And you're getting split a few different ways here. So a McClub maybe. Oh, McClub. Yeah. All right. McDonald's. This is officially property of Fourth Line Sports. Sorry, and Canada Puck Podcast. Any blah blah blah. All the legal jargon. It's ours. McClub. It's ours.
Patent pending. Boom.
There we go. Starting off here, these are not the most glamorous, but I'm going to go with them anyways. I just couldn't help myself. Isaiah Pacheco, under 68.5 rushing yards, minus 110, $11 to win 10. Pacheco has been a workhorse in the postseason, but he hasn't done a whole bunch with it. Mm-hmm. He had 24 carries in the championship round, and he got 68 yards. He got 24 in the opening round, and it was 89 against Miami's lackluster defense. San Francisco, with their defensive line is anchored by 2 top picks, and I know that nobody thinks highly of Chase Young, but he's doing fine with the Niners. Then you got Eric Armstead, and who's that other big fucking guy in the middle there? Anyways, and that's without even considering the linebackers, Greenlaw and Warner, who are going to step up and make plays. It seems like an impossible task for this guy to go over 68.5. I was debating between he and Patrick Mahomes, but to take the under, I ended up going with Pacheco. I don't think that there's a ton of room on the ground to be had.
Well, this does not bode well for the 49ers, and I apologize to the faithful and all your fans, but it sounds like we're both in equal mindsets in the result of this game, guys. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey, speaking of running backs, but I'm going to go over. So a single rushing attempt, over 17.5 yards. That's one broken play. That's one big run from this workhorse stud. Minus 125, $10 to win $18. Not the most attractive, but most of my player props, they were the ones on the cutting room floor this morning when I was doing some whittling down, because it's hard to walk away from a $3,300 bet versus a minus 125. But I like McCaffrey. I like him having a big play. Over 17.5 yards on one play for $10.
Yeah, we're putting a shine on the Niners here. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm so sorry.
But I'm also going to an over on a McCaffrey prop. That is over 89.5 yards rushing. This guy's been sensational. He's gone over his rushing total in 5 of 6. He had 90 yards on 20 carries, 98 on 17 the week before. Kyle Shanahan, and there's a science behind this. Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing. You control clock, you can keep your opponents off the field, blah, 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 blah. But, simply, Christian McCaffrey is just doing better than everybody else right now. So I'm taking Christian McCaffrey to go over 89.5, and that's $11 to win 10.
Awesome, solid. Listening to the rhetoric this week, I was told again and again and again that the Chiefs' defense is a shutdown system. They shut down number one options. They do not let the big plays. But that's all Brock Purdy can do, guys. All he does is big plays, usually in the second half of football games, but all he does is big. So I'm thinking if there's any discrepancy, he's trying to throw the ball up for grabs. Brandon Ayuk, over 24.5 yards on one reception. So that's one big play. Again, we want one broken coverage. I guess I want 2 broken coverages against the Chiefs. But over 24.5 yards, minus 115. And mostly because I like to have fun. Unders are definitely the smart bet to make, and just blasting unders definitely makes you money, but that's boring. You don't really make that much money. And, you don't like fun. And I like fun, so I want to see a big play from Brandon Ayuk.
That's funny, yeah. I've got another over here, too. And coincidentally, another Niners over. This time going towards Brock Purdy, over 12.5 yards rushing. You know who's enjoying running the ball against the Chiefs? Basically any opposing quarterback. We saw Josh Allen torch them 2 rounds ago. Lamar Jackson should have used his legs more in the AFC Championship game. Instead, he kept forcing up these fucking lame duck throws. But still, I think he had 58, 60 yards rushing on 10 or 12 carries. It was productive.
As a man who put a lot of money on the Chiefs to win that game, because I was trying to chase some losses from a couple weeks ago, which is never great, but I was very scared every time Lamar took off. When he threw the ball, I was like, this is honestly the best case scenario. So if you're just running against this Chiefs team, they actually couldn't stop them. But, oops, oh well.
Yeah, this, I'm not saying this lies squarely on Lamar Jackson's shoulders, but he could have made this game very different. Anyways, and then the week before that, Tua Tagovailoa, who basically has decided that he doesn't like rushing anymore. He'd rather protect his head, and rightfully so. It can only get knocked off so many times and reattached in the same game when your team continues to put you out there, and your longevity's before your longevity's hurt. So anyways, everybody's running the ball against the Chiefs, every opposing quarterback. I don't think Brock Purdy's going to do anything differently. He had a big jaunt last week. He went for 20 plus. The only thing that kind of concerns me about this, and maybe this probably isn't even a concern considering how much we're aligned on this game, kneel downs at the end. Like, if he's using, this happened to Mahomes, I think, the last time these guys met in the playoff or the Super Bowl. Minus 15 rushing yards on the 3 kneel downs to end the game, and he went under his prop total. It was a disaster. Anyways, Brock Purdy over 12.5, 11 to win 10.
Solid. And then my final player prop is an over. He's a Niner. So, I apologize. I'm sorry. And actually, I think I had this section called Elijah Mitchell time because I had a bunch on Elijah Mitchell. I've just whittled it down to one. So, Elijah Mitchell time is just one time. Over 1.5 rush attempts from Elijah Mitchell. He is their quintessential backup running back, but based on McCaffrey's kind of just overall utility, overuse, I don't even know if he may not see the field, but maybe in a situation where you have a bit of a lead, you're padding the run, it's just attempts. All I want is just rush attempts, give the ball to him twice, maybe he's even a goal line back at some point for them. So again, lots of utility in that system, and who was a pretty competent player before they got CMC. Like, he was a top 10 running back for them in this offense before, right? So it's not like he doesn't have the skill, and I don't think it's fallen off. I think it's just they have a better use. So does he get some type of action? I like it. 2 rush attempts, $10 to win $18.
I like that too, and I think history's been kind to him. Recent history too. Like, he had a couple plays in against the Lions there, and I think he was featured in against the Packers too. So like, Shanahan will trot him out there every chance he gets.
There you go.
All right, last player prop. This is a head-to-head one, and one that didn't really make sense to me. I was talking about the Niners line. The person I forgot, Javon Hargrave. He's up against Chris Jones, and it's most tackles plus assists. So basically most combined tackles. This one didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me. Defensive linemen, they're not like superstars of the tackling world. They might get 1, 2, 3 a game. Sometimes you get 5 or 6 on like an exceptional performance. Where we're at with Chris Jones, he's plus 164 against Javon Hargrave. Jones didn't have any tackles last week. I'm not saying he's going to jump up to 5, but I think that him not recording a tackle last week has kind of impacted his standing in the market. And I like him to just straight up beat Javon Hargrave for most tackles and assists, plus 164. $10 to win $16.40.
Solid. So that leaves me down to my last 2 props.
Let me just see here. Did I got 2 as well? Man, we hammered through that way quicker than I thought we would. I also have 2.
Okay, awesome.
I have one glamour one,
okay,
which is your everybody knows what it is at this point, and then one MVP.
Okay, awesome. So for myself, I also have an MVP. Let's go. First thing happens after the game. You got to do the Gatorade bath, guys. You have to do the Gatorade bath. Now, last year, Grant called this one out of nowhere, out of thin air. Maybe he did some research. I believe he had purple, and it was like a significant, like a plus 1,000 or something.
It was 9 to 1, I think.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where I think both of us did poorly, but he hit like it was like Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown in that, and he won like $200. And I was like, good for you, Grant. Yeah. Now, that was because the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and there was purple Gatorade coming out of the container. Patrick Mahomes, earlier this year, it came out that from when after a win, he doesn't change his underwear. He just wears the same dirty old underwear because he's that superstitious. So you're telling me the man that won the Super Bowl last year drinking purple Gatorade isn't going to specifically indicate that purple Gatorade wins you Super Bowls. And he's that OCD that he only allows purple Gatorade because that's what you drink when you win Super Bowls. So I like purple at plus 400 to be the Gatorade color dumped on Andy Reid. And you know what? It doesn't even really matter because purple's just a random color. It could be anyone on the Niners bench too. So like I have a chance of hitting it on both sides. So at plus 400, I'm going to take purple again. $10 to win 50.
Damn. You'd think sports books would have learned their lesson. Nobody puts as much detail into these bets as Mick does. Fucking breaking down Rihanna's cleavage props to the Gatorade, tying, Mahomes' OCD nature into the Gatorade. Love it. I hope you win that. I, as you may have inferred, like the 49ers. I also, this is where I have to get a little careful because I also hate Mahomes. So, like, me coming from a place of rooting for the 49ers, because I kind of do like what they're doing right now, also comes from a place of taking a firm stance against Patrick Mahomes. So, my biggest play of the day, I have the Niners to cover -1.5. I spent $25 on this to win 22-32. I just think that they're the spirit team, and we'll see where it goes.
So I also have. Oh, we'll talk about that, but I'm going to do my last one. So my glamorous one. As I'm pulling up props, because you just said, as you mentioned it, we're a hockey podcast. I think traditionally or historically we've always done hockey props. So you can get shots on goal versus field goal attempts in the game or something like that, right? And as I pull it up, I hit novelty props. And the very last one is, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift on the field after the game? And yet, yes, is plus 750. No, 3,000. Minus 3,000. I kind of feel like that's not the most worst odds I've ever seen for something that probably won't happen. Like, do you think it's going to happen? Probably not. So, like, if you had a bunch of money to invest, that's not a terrible way of just making some money return for, like, a fake event. Anyways, what I actually think is going to happen is I think he is going to propose. And there's a better way of getting better odds than the plus 750 that the books offer. You take Travis Kelce, MVP, at plus 1,200. Put $10 on that to win $130. Because as Travis Kelce wins the MVP and stands on the podium and proposes to Taylor Swift then and there in front of Roger Goodell, it creates this perfect harmonic coupling in the universe, the biggest stage in the world, billions of people watching around the world, and you see one of the global superstars have a nice little storybook love story right there in center field. So that's how I like to get me a Taylor Swift proposal at better odds than the sports books are offering you.
Okay, so there's a few things that I need to comment on here.
Okay.
The first of which is Roger Goodell reigning over top of this proposal, like prima nocta style. Like, actually, I get to bang her first.
Well, okay, yeah. First off, that's a possibility. The reason I felt so confident that the Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl, because if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, Taylor Swift, the biggest star in the world, also goes to the Super Bowl. And it kind of, I mean, Baltimore put up a bit of a fight, but, like, I don't know. They were kind of lucky to beat the Ravens. Nothing, like, too egregious, like a random holding penalty at the end of the game or something like that. But we've seen the NHL manipulate situations before to, like, have the narrative told in their way. So if you believe that, make some money on Travis Kelce winning the MVP.
And this is the other part I wanted to comment on, because it assumes a lot too. Because it assumes the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, because it would look pretty fucking stupid if Travis Kelce gets on one knee and proposes under a parade of, like, Niners colors, confetti raining down on them.
Yeah.
Which I think would be, like, I think that would just be the ironic ending that would make my heart smile.
Okay, all right. You had one final prop, right?
One last one. I wanted to talk about Samuel because I thought long and hard about Samuel in this spot. Super Bowl MVP. If the Niners win, and, you know, everything that I said before, this aligns the way that it aligns, it also assumes one very big thing, and that is that the Niners were successful in shutting down the Chiefs' offense. And I don't think it matters what the offense does if San Francisco's defense basically throws it in Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's face all day.
Yeah.
And one person who straddles a line better than anybody else on this defense is Fred Warner. 3-time All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner has been an absolute fucking wrecking ball this year. I think he had 13 tackles and a forced fumble, or maybe it was a pass deflection last week. He's done it all. Interceptions, forced fumbles, pass deflections, fumble recoveries, sacks, tackles. Like, this man's just he can get anywhere. And if they're gonna knock Patrick Mahomes out of his rhythm, I know that, you know, Nick Bosa is going to play a role, and maybe Nick Bosa is the right person to go with, but I just think Fred Warner has too big of a profile for him to be overlooked. And at 140 to 1, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I put $10 on Fred Warner as the Super Bowl MVP. $10 to win 1,400.
Awesome. Solid. Cool. Yeah, so for my pick as well, talk about this more after the show, but I'm also going to go Niners money line. I really like the play. And in my mind, it's the probabilities of Mahomes going to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years and winning all of them versus Kyle Shanahan going to 3 Super Bowls in the last 10 years and like suffering humiliating defeats. Well, not humiliating, but the Atlanta Super Bowl was kind of a humiliating defeat. Like, New England Patriots fans still talk about 14-3. So, like, that's got to weigh on a guy. And then losing to Patrick Mahomes when basically all you had to do was just hit that one long shot pass to Emmanuel Sanders, and the Super Bowl was the Niners on the last go-round. It seems more probable to me that Kyle Shanahan ends up 1-2 than 0-3, and Mahomes ends up 0. Like, you know, it's just the way the universe kind of balances, right? The Eagles, since the turn of the century, have had the same thing. They're 1-2 in Super Bowls. They've lost 2. They've won 1. And I think that's kind of where teams should find themselves more often, right? Manning, the same thing. Won a Super Bowl, or won 2 Super Bowls, lost 1. The Seahawks lost 1, won 1. Like, it just kind of seems like things balance out for the most part. And I think it seems... I don't know. I also don't hate being against when they ask, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is great, isn't he? And I was like, oh, yeah, I bet against him all the time. Like, I never believed in him. I don't mind taking that stance and just being wrong if he does go down as the greatest of all time. Be like, lost a lot of money betting against Patrick Mahomes back in my day. It's a fun story I get to tell, so.
You know, I've said that. I fucking have used those words this week. Sometimes it's just fucking weird. I've said exactly that at the start of the week. I was like, I've lost a lot of money betting against Patrick Mahomes. And I also wasn't willing to reverse course on that. I'd rather just accept that defeat. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what happened? Like, well, I tried to chase him when he was an underdog in the Super Bowl and lost my shirt. Fuck. Cool.
But last time these teams met in the Super Bowl, we were sitting in Lighthouse, some dirty old pub. I think they have free food. That's what brought us down
Free
there.
Hot dogs.
Free hot dogs.
Not just free food. Free hot dogs. 25-cent wings, free hot dogs. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and what was it? 21-10? 21-10 in the fourth quarter or something like that? And all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes goes on 3 scoring drives, and it's 31-21. Is that what it ended? 31-20? Whatever it was. Yeah. But I say this, and sometimes this kickstarted the Chiefs dynasty without questions. But the Niners kind of beat themselves in that game. So... yeah, maybe this is the balance that we're craving. Maybe it's the balance the universe doesn't give us. Who knows? But I also think that the Niners are the right side to be on in this case.
Awesome. Cool. All right, well, I'm glad we agree. And hopefully you guys agree. Hopefully we've given you something that sparked your imagination, something that you're kind of like, oh, perfect, I'm going to run with that. Or you're just wanting to watch us lose our shirts and talk about licking our wounds next week. So that's a probability as well.
And you know what? We've been in both scenarios. And you know what? We're still here.
We are. Nothing can beat us. So with that, I think all we have to do is maybe Babe of the Week when they get out of here.
Babe of the Week. You know what? And I was going to save this for another day. Sorry, I'm going to make sure my volume's down here. I was going to save this for another day, but I'm going to fucking make you eat your words from earlier today. And guess what? You know who our Babe of the Week is? It's fucking Tate McCraw. Screw you, Mick. She is an absolute smoke show. Tate McCraw, TateMcrae. We know she loves hockey. We saw her involvement. You know who else? We saw everybody else's involvement because there wasn't one player on the ice who didn't take a run at Tate McCraw, whether it was pregame stuff or locker room stuff or like off-ice stuff. Everybody was in Tate McCrae's business. And rightfully so. This woman's Stone Cold Fox and Calgary native. Did you know this? She's from Calgary.
Oh, when I saw that she was a special coach for the Vancouver Team Hughes, I was like, I don't know who that is. And then after the show, I was like, oh, that's who that is. I still don't know who that is. So
I refed her kid brother. Maybe it's her older brother. Anyways, okay. I think he played in Okotoks too. And I think he played junior A in Okotoks. Anyways, Tate McCrae. Stone Cold Fox, Calgary native, and most notably, the Canada Puck Podcast Babe of the Week.
So we'll end on All-Star Weekend for the NHL. The final thing I forgot about, which one of the moments I loved the most, was we saw these cute little drafts, and the Leafs all went with the Leafs, and all the Canucks went with the Canucks, and then Elias Lindholm was traded. The only All-Star in Calgary was traded from the Flames to the Canucks, and then Tate McCraw proceeded to take Elias Lindholm, because apparently he was the only player she knew, on a different team. So he didn't get to play with his new teammates at the All-Star game because Tate McCraw only knew the Calgary Flames player and really wanted him on her team. So she broke up the Vancouver Canucks little All-Star festivities. And I thought that was delightful and adorable. And like, she kind of won me over at that point. I was like, okay, cool. All right. I appreciate that. That's how this worked. Great.
I didn't know that, but that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was also. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm sorry that I threw shade at you, but you did become the babe of the week as a result. So I'm not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. So that is a show. That is a prop show in the books. Look at that, making memories. We could talk about this in years, but remember how stupid we were that one time?
Remember how much we thought the Niners were going to win and they lost 56-0?
It's unfortunate. But you can only lose to Mahomes so often, right? He's only, 23? He's going to be playing for another, 40 years? Great. Awesome. Cool.
We should have insulated our position a little bit. Maybe I should have saved $10 for the 2025 Super Bowl winner and put $10 on the Niners there. Because, like Noah Gray's going to be the first touchdown scorer now, we are so all in on the 49ers, the universe will be like, not this year.
It is next year.
It
is next year. Damn. But with that, we'll see you guys next week, and we're going to talk some hockey. So hopefully we did all right. We'll go back to our hockey roots. Some trades to break down. So some exciting stuff. Maybe more trades coming. I don't know. I've heard some rumors.
Whatever it is you heard, I'm excited to hear more about it next week.
Awesome. Cool. Till then, see you guys next week. Party on, Grant.
Yeah, man. We'll see everybody next week.